Greetings. This is Xplanated. That's right, Xplanated. The vlog for all things Xplane. Xplane flight simulation. So welcome aboard. This is episode 6 of Xplanated. Today we've got some interesting topics to discuss. And while we're talking about all the various subjects, we'll go ahead and have a nice little flight here in the background. This is the Caravan 208 again, and I'm flying in France actually, and headed down to Italy. A little FS economy run. So yeah, a few topics today. The first one is going to be the new beta that's available for XPlane. It's 10.5 Release Candidate 2. There's numerous changes and improvements to the sim, and so I won't go through all of them, but I wanted to highlight some of the ones that I thought were interesting to me, which therefore may be interesting to you. One of the biggest changes is autogen. You got a lot of new U.S. city autogen, and you've got tall buildings in some places. I've had an opportunity to fly with the beta a few times, and saw some tall buildings in Los Angeles, and I'm sure they're spread out throughout the U.S. So we've got some new autogen buildings, some new detail there, which is nice. One of the new, there's a new and improved Baron and King Air as default in XPlane, so maybe those people who are using the demo version will have a better experience with the new and improved Baron and King Air. You also now have global winds aloft worldwide, whereas before it was global winds aloft in, I believe, just North America or maybe just the U.S. I don't recall. But Europeans and Australians and Asians will be happy to have the global winds aloft now in the simulation. You get better AI aircraft that fly more realistically, which is always an advantage. Being that I fly a lot on Pilot Edge, I turn off my AI aircraft most of the time, but for those of you who do have the AI aircraft, they're going to fly a little more realistically. Stratus clouds look better from above. I didn't notice them looking bad below, but a lot of the time I'm doing photo recon, so I don't load a lot of weather. You've got a better randomization of artificial intelligence parking spots. Setting screen is no longer deleted on the hide, so when you're going through the different setting menus, if you have to reopen them, they open a lot faster now. On-screen notification if a download of real weather fails, which is handy. Strobe lights in the clouds set now to only happen when you're totally in the clouds, so it does not affect scenery at night. When turned on, break out to visual at the cloud bases as we need it all along. Just skirting the mountains here along the lake. Crash limit is now set from 20G to 10G. Trimming out actual elevator deflection and pitch, not just the autopilot deflection. This will give slightly more accurate pitch trim. Always looking for better flight dynamics. So it's nice to hear that they're working on things that will alleviate some of the issues with pitch trim. They now load the mouse cursor bitmaps all at once and cache them for future use. There's some nice sailboats down there on the water. Stall warnings are now a little more accurate. They do not depend on the avionics switch, and read switches do not depend on the battery. Planes now go around if a crash is imminent, and also better about not kicking in rudder at low altitudes, which will crash an airliner. So I'm assuming this is the AI aircraft they're referring to. Flight data recorder, which I haven't played with too much, tracks the window that tracks that will allow for larger monitors, because a lot of us are running, quite large monitors. In my case, I'm running a 40-inch monitor. Various bits of frame rate improvements here and there to increase frame rate overall and also reduce pauses. So that's all, just a few highlights of Release Candidate 2. Now, I'm not flying it full time. For example, I'm doing FS Economy right here in Europe right now, and I'm still using TEM.45. But I have in a separate folder, and I highly recommend that if you do choose to try the beta, that you don't override your 10.45 or whatever version you happen to be stable on right now. Create a new directory, run the XPlane installer, and install the beta into a new directory, and then copy your aircraft over and your scenery, etc. That way it's isolated in case you have problems with what add-ons you have and what hardware also that you have. So there's a few highlights there for 10.5 Release Candidate 2. Moving on to the next subject, we've got, as many of you know, I've been doing a lot of Twitch streaming. So if you're just catching this video on YouTube and you may be interested in a live stream, go to twitch.tv/JonFly. That's JonFly. So twitch.tv/JonFly. And I and many other streamers are having a lot of support from the community. I see regularly that people are making donations that make the streams even better, whether it be hardware or software. So I just have to say that I think that the XPlane community, as well as the P3D and FXX community, are very generous. And I want you to know that I've appreciated every donation that I've received, and it's gone back into the sim for hardware, for software, because I want to make my streams enjoyable for you, and so it helps when people donate, so we can try out different new pieces of software and hardware. Someone was very generous the other day, and a gentleman by the name of Chaos Dispenser donated money for a new hard drive, so we were able to get some hard drives, and that's why we're flying in Europe. So again, thanks to him, we're flying in Europe, and we're flying in the French Alps on our way over to Italy. And I hope we can clear that mountain. So again, I just wanted to give thanks to those who have supported streamers. I've seen many streamers get many donations, and there's just some real heroes out there that are making these streamers better and better and better. Whoa! Last minute pitch change there, just to now we can relax a little bit. Don't cut it close there in the real life. I mean, look at the valley down below there. That is just unreal. Another guy I wanted to talk about that is also contributing to the quality of streaming is JSnap1982. You can follow him, twitch.tv/JSnap1982. And Justin is his name, and he is in California, and we have had a lot of fun together. He is working on some shared cockpit files, and so when we're in the simulation in XPlane in various aircraft, we can both be in the same plane manipulating the controls in the cockpit, in jets and also in general aviation aircraft. So my hat's off to JSnap 1982 for doing a lot of work on shared cockpit files. Now, many of you have reached out to me asking when these shared cockpit files will be available for public consumption. I would highly recommend that you go over to twitch.tv/jsnap1982 and start watching his live streams. Click on the follow button for him. And then when you catch him in a live stream, maybe he can give you some information on when those will be available. A couple of the aircraft that have his tweaked Smart Copilot config file and or brand new Smart Copilot config file are the 727 V2. He's tweaked that. So FlyJSim 727 V2 is working well with shared cockpit. My understanding is that there is a shared cockpit file that does come with it, but it's been tweaked and optimized by JSnap. He also created from the ground up a 767, the Flight Factor 767 shared cockpit config file. And that one I've streamed with him, and also Aerosim Gaming has streamed with him, and maybe a few others. And that is a great file. There's a great, and again, no one, as far as I knew, no one had done that before. So hats off again to JSnap for doing a new AirPit config file. And again, I've had 4 or 5 guys ask me, where can I get that file? Well, I don't have access or the ability to give out that file, so let's talk to JSnap about that and see when that's ready for public consumption. Also, another plane is this plane, the Caravan 208. He did a shared cockpit file for this as well. Also, the Piper PA-31 Navajo. And one of my new favorite jets is the SSG E-170 Evo plane. And that jet did not have a shared cockpit file, and he created one from the ground up. So we've been having fun doing that. A couple other planes that have, well, another one he's working on is the Airfoil Labs Cessna 172. I'm very excited about doing shared cockpit with that because I want to simulate the instructor environment. You know, and it's a very typical plane for flight school for training. Is, you know, you got your instructor in the right seat and your student in the left, and to be able to do shared cockpit in the Airfoil Lab Cessna 172 will be a great asset to this simulation. That's also, I imagine that we'll be testing that here this coming month. The IXEG has a shared cockpit file, and I think he has done some tweaks with that. He's also working on the MD-80. I guess Flight Scitech has created a config file for that, and but I believe JSnap also helped with some tweaking there possibly. And I think there was rumors of the Embraer 110 also being worked on. So yeah, great work, and he has great streams. He makes me laugh. So, and a couple other projects that he's working on that I won't go into, but he will potentially talk about on stream. Still trying to get up to our cruise altitude here, but I do love the view. Another valley down below. Oh. You know, there's a lot to be said about how beautiful Europe is and how people don't fully realize how beautiful Europe is. All right, well, a couple other things that I wanted to talk about on my vlog here. Now, this may be a sensitive subject for some people, but it's something that it's something that's been on my mind for a while now, and so I'll just go ahead and say it now. I think that we as I'm speaking to the people who live stream, whether it be on YouTube or Beam.pro or Hitbox or Twitch.tv. When you're live streaming, I don't hear it so much on YouTube videos, although occasionally I do. But when we're live streaming, I think we need to tone back the profanity. And the reason that I say this is there's been, in my own personal experience, there's been times where I've wanted to have friends or family of various ages, some small ages, some younger folk, tune into a particular stream. Now, there's some very knowledgeable streamers out there that know a lot about aircraft, know a lot about flying, and unfortunately, the profanity is getting to a point where I can't really have that live stream going on and demonstrating that live stream to younger people, but also some people that are not necessarily younger, that are maybe they just don't want to hear the profanity, the excessive profanity. Now, I myself have been guilty of using foul language on my stream. There's a very famous clip of me spilling a drink on stream where I'm swearing because I've just spilled a drink all over a very expensive piece of hardware, a joystick. And there's been other times that I've sworn, right? But maybe those of you who are watching that are streamers, we can try to cut back on the profanity. I understand there's going to be moments where we may make a mistake, whether it be on online ATC, or it may be something that we do wrong in the sim and we're not even on an online network and we just swear and it just comes out, or something happens around us that we swear. And an occasional swear word is not going to really be the end. But when it's just constant over and over and over again, and I'm including all of the words that we all know about, and then again, some people take offense to religious, what they call, taking God's name in vain, Lord's name in vain, that type of thing. It is offensive to some people. So I know that we have the option on some streaming platforms to say, hey, this is for mature audiences. Go ahead and click this to accept that this is for mature audiences. I understand that we have that there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to try to break the record for the most amount of F-bombs in a 15-minute span. So that's just my take. I've had to, in some streams, I've had to take the volume way, way, way down because I want to enjoy the content, but sometimes I just can't when the people that I have around, and some of you may have similar experience. Please weigh in below. It's a free country. You can get on Twitch and you can stream and you can say whatever you want. You can swear as much as you want. It's a free country, but maybe think about the audience a little bit more, and I also think that you will curtail the growth of your audience by maybe swearing a little too often. So hope anyone out there is not offended by that topic. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying maybe rethink it and analyze it for the future. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and on to another topic, and that is I want to have an unofficial FlyIn event, and I'm looking in September or October. And so I wanted, for those of you who have made it this far in the vlog, if you could maybe chime in down below with whether or not you'd be interested in a FlyIn event. And this first FlyIn event will be on Pilot Edge. The second one we might try out FS Cloud, for example. But I will say that this is an unofficial FlyIn event, and if I get enough interest, if let's say we have 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 guys or gals that want to do this, then we will pick a location. But because it's a massive FlyIn, our first one, if we do it in September or October, is going to be outside of the coverage area. And we're going to be all talking on either TeamSpeak or Discord. And it's probably going to be in an airport that'll be in the western United States. It will not be in San Francisco, Las Vegas, or the SoCal, Southern California area. It'll probably be more like in a Salt Lake City or a Reno or Portland, Seattle, Denver, Phoenix, Albuquerque, that type of thing, outside of the Pilot Edge coverage area. But we will connect to Pilot Edge, and then we will talk to each other on TeamSpeak or Discord. And we'll just have a large, I just want to see a number of aircraft taking off, flying around. And I think this first Pilot Edge unofficial GA fly-in event will be, general aviation. And then and if it's a success, meaning that we have at least 6 guys that show up, then we'll look at maybe doing a tube-liner fly-in in the future. But let me know in the comments below. You can always email me at dear, DEAR, @JonFly.com. Comments below or the email with whether or not you'd be interested in that fly-in. And then I can publicize a date in September or October for us to, consider. And maybe we can even have a straw poll amongst those that are interested. I'll maybe keep an email list of those that are interested in that type of function. There's 2 more things I want to talk about. So in my new diving into XPlane this last 10 months now, I have made a lot of friends. Now, some of those friends have common interests, and one of my common hobby/interests, pastimes, is fantasy sports. I do a lot of fantasy golf, and I do fantasy football. So I figured maybe some of my flight simulation buddies are also into fantasy football. So I've put together a league on Yahoo, and I'm going to put in the show notes below a link to click on to go to that Yahoo league. Now, the draft is scheduled for the end of this month, so get in now. I think there's 8 or 9 spots left. If you're interested in fantasy football and maybe trash talking with each other on TeamSpeak, Discord, on stream, I might even stream the draft live while I'm flying around. So give that a thought if you're into fantasy football. If you're not, we can teach you if you're interested in learning. It's pretty easy. You basically are drafting players from several different NFL teams, and then you're making a lineup each week, and you're facing off with other flight sim enthusiasts from week to week. And then we have playoffs, and we have a championship, etc. Got several of my friends in there already. If you are interested, please click on the link in the show notes below, and we would welcome you aboard into that Flight Sim Yahoo Fantasy Football League. Making our way over here into Italy. Looks like we may not make it to destination, so we may save the remainder of this flight for another vlog. But I appreciate you joining me today. As always, any constructive criticism, feedback is more than welcome. And if you have any particular topics that you want discussed, if you want my opinion on something, go ahead and, like I say, email me, dear@jonfly.com, DEAR @jonfly, JONFLY.com, or make comments below. Also note that I live stream on twitch.tv/JonFly. Also look for JonFly, JONFLY, on YouTube. I've got over 100 videos of flights that I've done in most of them are in the US. Now we're venturing out a little bit into Europe. I do a lot of FS economy, virtual economy. And I also do a couple of cold and dark videos. I'm not the best. I'm not an expert, but I have fun producing the content. So I hope you enjoyed episode 6 of Xplanated. And happy flying. See you in the skies soon.